Chapter 30, CyTy. There is no peace in Sci-Fi's head. The Fry doesn't know how bad it is. The Fry doesn't know how the feelings crash over him like storm-driven waves pounding a failing seawall. The wall is going to collapse soon, and when it does, Cy will lose it. He'll lose everything. His mind will spill out of his ears and down the drains of the streets of Joplin. He knows it. Then he sees the sign, now entering Joplin. His heart is his own, but it pounds in his chest, threatening to burst. And wouldn't that be a fine thing? They'd rush him to a hospital, give him someone else's sticker, and he'd have that kid to deal with too. This boy in the corner of his head doesn't talk to him in words. He feels, he emotes. He doesn't understand that he's only a part of another kid. It's like how in a dream you know some things and other things you should know but you don't. This kid, he knows where he is, but he doesn't know he's not all the here. He doesn't know he's part of someone else now. He keeps looking for things in Cyrus's head that just aren't there. Memories, connections. He keeps looking for words, but Cyrus's brain codes words differently. And so the kid hurls out anger, terror, grief. Waves pounding the wall, and beneath it all, there's a current hugging Cy forward. Something must be done here. Only the kid knows what it is. Would it help to have a map? Asks the Fry. The question gets Cy mad. Map won't help me, he says. I need to see stuff. I need to be places. A map is just a map. It ain't being there. They stand at a corner on the outskirts of Joplin. It's like divining for water. Nothing looks familiar. He doesn't know this place, Cy says. Let's try another street. Block after block, intersection after intersection, it's the same. Nothing. Joplin is a small town, but not so small that a person could know all of it. Then, at last, they get to a main street. There are shops and restaurants up and down the road, just like any other town size. But wait, what is it? He knows this street, says Cy. There, that ice cream shop. I can taste pumpkin ice cream. I hate pumpkin ice cream. I'll bet he didn't. Cyrus nods. It was his favorite, the loser. He points a finger at the ice cream shop and slowly swings his arm to the left. He comes walking from that direction. He swings his arm to the right. And when he's done, he goes that way. So, do we track where he comes from? Or where he goes? Cy chooses to go left but finds himself at Joplin High, home of the Eagles. He gets an image of a word and instantly knows. Fencing. The kid was on the fencing team here. Swords are shiny, the Fry notes. Cy would throw him a dirty look if he weren't right on target. Swords are indeed shiny. He wonders if the kid ever stole swords, and realizes that yes, he probably did. Stealing the swords of opposing teams is a time-honored tradition of fencing. This way, says the Fry, taking the lead. He must have gone from school to the ice cream shop to home. Home is where we're going, right? The answer comes to Cy as an urge deep in his brain that shoots straight to his gut. Salmon? More like a swordfish twisting on a line, and that line is pulling him relentlessly toward. Home, says Ty. Right. It's twilight now. Kids are outside in the street. Half the cars have headlights on. And as far as anyone knows, they're just two neighborhood kids, headed wherever neighborhood kids go. No one seems to notice them, but there's a police car a block away. It was parked, but now it begins moving. They pass the ice cream parlor, and as they do, Cyrus can feel the change inside him. It's in his walk, and in the way he holds himself. It's in all the tension points on his face. They're changing. His eyebrows lower, his jaw opens slightly. I'm not myself. That other kid is taking over. Should Cy let it happen, or should he fight it? But he knows it's already past the point of fighting. The only way to finish this is to let it happen. Cy, says the kid next to him. Cy looks at him, and although part of him knows he's just Lev, another part of him panics. He instantly knows why. He closes his eyes for a moment and tries to convince the kid in his head that the Fry is a friend, not a threat. The kid seems to get it, and his panic drops a notch. Cy reaches a corner and turns left like he's done it 100 times. The rest of him shudders as he tries to keep up with his determined temporal lobe. Now a feeling comes on him, nervous, annoyed. He knows he must find a way to translate it into words. I'm gonna be late. They're gonna be so mad. They're always so mad. Late for what? Dinner. They gotta eat it right on time, or I get hell for it. They could eat it without me, but they won't. They don't. They just do. And the food goes cold. And it's my fault. My fault. Always my fault. So I gotta sit there and they ask me, how was my day? Fine. What did I learn? Nothing. What did I do wrong this time? Everything. It's not his voice. It's his vocal cords. But it's not his voice coming out of them. Same tones, but different inflections. A different accent. Like the way he might have talked if he came from Joplin, home of the Eagles. As they turn another corner, Cy catches sight of that cop car again. It's behind them, following slowly. No mistake about it, it's following. And that's not all. There's another police car up ahead, but that one's just waiting in front of a house. His house, my house. Cy's the salmon after all, and that police car is the bear. But even so, he can't stop. He's got to get to that house or die trying. As he nears the front walk, two men get out of a familiar Toyota parked across the street. It's the dads. They look at him, relief in their faces, but also pain. So they knew where he was coming. I'm sorry, but so they knew where he was coming. They must have known all along. Cyrus, one of them calls. He wants to run to them. He wants them to just take him home, but he stops himself. He can't go home, not yet. They both stride toward him, getting in his path, but smart enough to not to get in his face. I gotta do this, he says in a voice he knows isn't his at all. That's when the police leap from their cars and grab him. They're too strong for him to fight him off. So he looks at the dads. I gotta do this, he says again. Don't be the bear. They look at each other, not understanding what he means, but then maybe they do because they step aside and say to the cops, let him go. This is Lev, Cyrus says, amazed that the fry is willing to risk his own safety to stand by his side now. Nobody bothers him either. The dads take a brief moment to acknowledge the fry, but quickly return their attention to Cyrus. The cops frisk Cy to make sure he has no weapon, and satisfied, they let him go on toward the house. But there is a weapon. Something sharp and heavy. Right now it's just in a corner of his mind, but in a few moments it won't be. And now Cy's scared, but he can't stop. There's a police officer at the front door talking in hushed tones to a man and a woman standing at the threshold. They glance nervously at Cy. The part of Cy that isn't Cy knows this middle-aged couple so well, he's hit by a lightning bolt of emotion so violent he feels like he'll incinerate. As he walks toward the door, the flagstone path seems to undulate beneath his feet like a funhouse floor. Then finally he stands before them. The couple looks scared, horrified. Part of him is happy at that, part of him is sad, and part of him wishes he could be any place else in the world, but he no longer knows which part it is. It's which. He opens his mouth to speak, trying to translate the feelings into words. Give it, he demands. Give it to me, Mom. Give it to me, Dad. The woman covers her mouth and turns away. She presses out ears like she's a sponge in a fist. Tyler, says the man. Tyler, is that you? It's the first time Cyrus has a name to go with that part of him. Tyler, yes, I'm Cyrus, but I'm also Tyler. I'm CyTy. Hurry, CyTy says. Give it to me. I need it now. What, Tyler? Says the woman through her ears. What do you want from us? CyTy tries to say it, but he can't get the word. He can't even get the image straight. It's a thing, a weapon. Still, the image won't come, but the action does. He's miming something. He leans forward, puts one arm in front of the other. He's holding something long, angling it down. He thrusts both arms lower, and now he knows it's not a weapon he seeks. It's a tool, because he understands the action he's miming. He's digging.